Welcome to the Purpose and Profit Club podcast for nonprofit leaders, mission-driven creatives, and social entrepreneurs. Get ready to stop dreaming and start doing. Here, ideas become action. We prioritize purpose and profit. You ready? Let's go. All right, it's part 3 of the Courage series. Today, we're going to talk about success anxiety. So let's unpack this term to begin with. What is success anxiety? How does it come up for everyone? And what I see in myself and a lot of my clients that I work with. Okay. Success anxiety can be a flavor of self-doubt, imposter syndrome, that spiraling out when a prospect, when a client, when a major donor, when anyone says yes. So in the last episode, we talked about disappointment and rejection. This is like the opposite of that. So that thing, that goal that you've been working towards, that you actually want to happen in the most, deepest part of you, you want it to happen. It happens. The person says yes. You get the funding, you get the this, you get the that. And then immediately you're like, oh crap, right? And it's this like pit in your stomach. Feels really heavy. And instead of feeling celebratory, you actually feel stress. Maybe you feel your nervous system kind of activate. Maybe you feel like, the fight, flight, freeze response. Maybe you feel like I got to get out of here. Like you feel stressed out. And it's counterintuitive because don't forget, in these scenarios, you've been working towards something. You've been working towards, you've been putting yourself out there. You've been making the daring asks. You've been doing a campaign you've never done before. You're really putting yourself out there. You're putting your organization out there. You're putting your mission out there. And you're putting yourself out there in order to fuel your mission forward, to increase your revenue, to increase your visibility. And it happens. And immediately you're like, and freaked out. Okay, so that's success anxiety. And now go back and listen to episodes 1 and 2 of the Courage series. So go back to the previous 2 episodes where I introduced the concept of the Courage sandwich, if you missed it, because we're going to be talking about how you can deal with success anxiety using a similar concept. So in the Courage sandwich, we talked about this idea of how you talk to yourself pre-game, before that donor meeting, leading up to that big meeting with the prospect, post-game. Okay, you had the meeting, you had the call, you had the lunch, you submitted the proposal, whatever the action was. How are you talking to yourself post-game, after? And deciding ahead of time how to speak kindly, like your best friend would, or like you might to someone you really love, right? Or you might even to a kid, how you would talk to yourself in that same loving, kind energy versus that self-critic versus, why'd you say that? You shouldn't have said that. That was weird. That sounded weird. Somebody said to me yesterday on a coaching call, one of my clients said they were preparing for a funder meeting and they said, oh, what if I basically stumble on my words? What if I get tongue-tied? And we kind of dug into that. So what if I get tongue-tied? Okay, what if you get tongue-tied? Then it was, well, what if I get tongue-tied and then I'm not going to seem like I know what the hell I'm talking about. I'm not going to seem professional. And I'm like, okay, well, let's talk about that. Humans get tongue-tied. I get tongue-tied recording this podcast. I get tongue-tied having a conversation with my barista. Like it just happens. A lot of times when it happens, I'll just make a joke about it. Like, oh, that's why I'm here for coffee because I clearly need another cup. That is lightness, right? It's not a big deal. It's not a reflection on my value or even my expertise in something. People who are experts in something, people who are amazing, or people who are, look at me getting tongue-tied right now, right? Look at people who know what the hell they're talking about and are very, very successful get tongue-tied. It's how they handle it when it happens and then how they talk to it themselves when it happens, after it happens, that either gets them back on track or gets them out of the flow of the conversation or the pitch. It's like, just make a joke about it. Just keep going. Even if you don't want to make a joke, just get back on track. It's like if you're walking down the street and have you ever tripped on nothing? Like nothing? You're like, there's literally no bump in the road and I managed to trip. I've done this before. It's like, okay. And then I'm just going to keep walking. One time I was getting on a swing and I just overshot it and I just fell backwards. I literally just like a playground swing. And I don't know, I don't know what was going on, but I just sat down on the swing and I just sat too far back. And so I just like landed on my butt and then I got up and then I sat back on the swing and started swinging. Like it wasn't, I don't need to leave the park. I don't need to get out of there. Everything's fine. You just get back on. So let's talk about, so those are some examples, but we're going to dig into this idea of success anxiety and the difference between the two. So success anxiety may be imposter syndrome for you. So maybe this idea of like, can I even do this? Do I even know what I'm qualified to, am I the one? And when those thoughts come up for me, I like to just remind myself that I learn through doing. I grow through doing. I'm in the arena. So if it's something that's like an edge for me or an edge for you, where it's like, I haven't quite done this before. I've never gotten funding of this size. I've never executed a proposal of this size. I've never brought on a client of this size, right? I'm like, and how I learned how to bring on a client of this size and grow my programs to this size is literally through doing it. There's no other way to do it. I don't need to consume another book or webinar or certification. Those are just like snacking. Those are like just having little snacks, right? The best way to learn how to get past that edge, that next level of your own expertise or growth or scaling is literally by scaling. So I kind of talk myself through and poke holes into that idea of, can I even do this? Am I even qualified? I'm like, who decided who's qualified? How does anyone do anything? They literally just start, right? Now, let's kind of go to a crazy example. Now, if somebody said, Christina, tomorrow you're going to help assist in this knee surgery. You'd be like, you know what? I'm not qualified to help assist in this knee surgery. But if somebody said, tomorrow you're going to help an organization that has been plateaued at $750,000 for the past 3 years, and I want you to come up with a plan. I want you to teach their organization how to execute. I want to do a comprehensive audit of what's working, what's not, and give them exactly what they need to scale to $1 million this year. Can you do it? Be like, yeah, I got it. Now, have I done that exact thing? Maybe, maybe not. It doesn't matter because that's my like zone of genius, right? That's my zone of expertise. And the same for you. So it doesn't have to be, it's like, is this so out of my wheelhouse that this is knee surgery? No, this is in my wheelhouse, right? If you're having these prospect meetings, if you're getting the yes, it's because the prospect believes in you. You believe in you. You believe in your mission, and a little bit of wobbliness is coming up, and that's totally normal, okay? So the next way that I see the success anxiety come up is, this is a big one, and this isn't something I've totally experienced in this way, but one of my clients said this to me, and I was like, ooh, this is good, and I bet this comes up for a lot of leaders, a lot of founders, was if they say yes, now I kind of owe them. Now I feel tied or indebted to them, right? For them, the funder relationship almost felt like a ball and chain, like we're getting married, right? And they are now, I have to be at their beck and call, right? And that feels really heavy. If I brought on a new client and thought, well, great. Now, every time, they send me an email or call or blah, 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 I have to jump, right? And they could call me at all hours and I have to be on call and I have to do this, right? It's like this heavy, stressful owing, indebted to them. And I thought that was really interesting that came up. And what we explored was like, what's underneath that? And if that comes up for you, what's underneath that? Like, why would you feel that if somebody made $100,000 gift to your organization, or if you had a prospect come in and you signed a contract for $100,000 worth of your services, right? If you're impact driven business, right? Or maybe you had a sale of that much, right? Or a series of sales, right? And that heaviness where you're like, God, now I have to fulfill it, right? Now I have to do this thing that I said I would do. And so I think where people are most wobbly, if this is coming up for them, is now I'm indebted to them. Now I feel like I owe them. And like the other half of that sentence is, and I don't think I can do it. And what if I fail? And what if I can't? And what if it's a failure, right? It's like this fear of failure. That's what's underneath. And if that's you, welcome to the club. Everybody has a fear of failure. I've talked about this idea of main character energy and activating main character energy and finding somebody this could be somebody that's a mentor, somebody that is a successful entrepreneur, somebody that's just somebody that you look up to. And sometimes I find it's helpful to say, did they ever experience this wobbliness? I wonder if along the way, they ever experienced this. So for example, sometimes I will bring up Sarah Blakely, who is the billionaire founder of Spanx. And she's so hilarious. She marches to her own beat. She does not stay in the lanes of like what's normal and what's appropriate. She can be weird and cheeky and air quotes unprofessional and totally professional. I mean, she's both, right? And I'm like, I wonder if she ever got a huge order from Neiman Marcus or Nordstrom or whoever she was pitching at the time and got the biggest order. And I wonder if she ever said to herself, oh crap, can I even do this? Now I feel like I owe them. And maybe that came up for her. But at that point, you have like a fork in the road and you can decide, I don't know. I don't know if I can even do this, but I'm going to try. Or no, I don't owe them. I'm not married to them. I'm not indebted to them. They're a partner in this journey. This is reciprocal. They are helping my business or organization grow, and I am helping their business or organization grow. So in the Spanx example, like it's a win-win for her to fulfill this order, get the store or online store shelves stocked, get those puppies sold, right? No one's indebted to the other person. And I think it's really important to like parse out the difference between sometimes those thoughts or even deep-rooted money beliefs in this case that are coming up for people when they get a big surge of funding or sales, okay? And to remember, this is a business. This isn't me. I'm not selling me, okay? So in this example, my client felt like this heaviness around if I pitch this potential donor, get a significant gift, now I'm at their beck and call, okay? Is that true? Like just kind of poke some holes in it. Is it true? I don't think it's true. And by the way, if somebody gives your organization a major donation, major gift, and commits to that, I don't think they want to call you all the time. Like they're busy. And so reminding yourself of like, okay, does this person really want to call me all the time? Or is that just that wobbly, shaky fear coming up? Okay. And reminding yourself, okay, let's play this out. Let's say they do. And they're like, I want a report and I want a meeting and I want this and I want this often. You get to actually say yes or no. You get to have a system in place that says, you know what? This is how we handle gifts of this size. I would love to tell you what we're working on, in this frequency, this cadence, and you get to say yes or no. Many founders struggle with this because it's the first time they're doing it. It's the first time that they've been in this position and they forget that they get to create a process that works for them. And then they get to let the client, prospect, funder know this is the process. And then that person can say, hey, can we actually do it at this frequency? And then you get to say yes or no. Like in my own business, there was a time where I was doing a lot more done for you services years ago. And we would have different clients want different reporting, different metrics, different check-in calls. Some people wanted a check-in call every Monday. Some people wanted a check-in call never. Some people wanted a report at this frequency. And then I would have clients that would say, we do our reporting this way. It has to be on an Excel sheet. And guess what I could say? Amazing. And this is the frequency that you'll get your reports in this way. And then I get to choose if I want to adapt anything to make sure they have what they need, or I get to just say no. And reminding yourself all along the way, this is a choice. And am I saying no because I'm scared? Or am I saying no because this isn't part of my process? This isn't part of an SOP. This is not how we report to our funders. This is not how we report to our clients. And I find when you have a clear process and you have the confidence and you tell the client, here's what we do, here's what it looks like, here's what you can expect, and there's confidence behind it, they're like, oh my gosh, got it. Okay. And I remember one in particular that was this really clunky, antiquated report, and they wanted it frequently. And I was like, we can do this, fork in the road. It's going to cost you double because of the amount of time. And instead of just saying that, I said, here's why you don't need it. Here's what you need instead. And it was like, let me get approval for that. Amazing, right? Having the confidence to be like, oh, right, I'm not tied to them. This is a partnership. This is reciprocal. What's in their best interest? Is it in their best interest? Is it in your funder's best interest that they hear from you every other day? No. Otherwise, they would be part of your staff. Remind them of that. You're trusting me. You're trusting me because you believe in our organization. You're going to allow me to lead. I got you. Okay, so that's the example of owing them, feeling indebted. Okay. Then, different coaching client, we're going through their prospect list and looking at some untapped revenue sources and working on increasing gift size. And ooh, it's so fun. And I was talking to her about this very series. And I was talking to her about the courage sandwich and then handling rejection and disappointment, which that particular one I've gotten a ton of feedback on. And to the point where I'm like, I didn't realize so many people felt this way too. And felt the way where they're like, this is a shoo-in. And then they get the rejection email and then they just feel like they're just a puddle, right? And then I said to her, the next part of the series is this idea of success anxiety and feeling just insecure when you get the yes. And I said, you don't have that. I don't think you have that, right? And she said, Christina, I have all of the anxieties. I have all of the, right? I have all of the, if there is a point throughout this funder journey that there is an opportunity to be anxious and doubtful, I got it. And I was like, I laughed because I was like, oh, right. Again, we all experience this. If you're a founder, if you're a leader, if you're putting yourself on a plate to hear a yes or a no, there's gonna be that wobbliness. There's gonna be that shakiness. Okay, so I want to go through how to handle success anxiety. So the first step, and I'm going to give you 7 steps or 7 ideas that you can use if this comes up for you. The first thing is I want you to plan your before and after. So the same way that we talked about with the courage sandwich, like how are you going to talk to yourself before you make the pitch and after you make the pitch? I actually want you to plan in this case of like, how am I going to handle that shakiness, that success anxiety if it comes up? Okay. How am I going to handle it? So let's dig into how you could handle it. So I want you to poke some holes, just like I showed you earlier, which is that even true? Like whatever your flavor of it is it, I'm going to feel indebted or I'm just going to fail, right? Can I even do this? Or this is just a one-time thing. I think the other shoe is going to drop. That's a lot. Like this is a fluke. That's a success anxiety thought, right? They said yes, but this is a fluke. I'll never be able to replicate this again, right? This is a one-time thing. So if that's your flavor, poke holes in that one, right? How is that first of all, how is that helpful to even believe? That's not helpful, right? You get the most funding, the most yeses, the most whatever to date. And your thought is, well, this is a fluke. This is a one-time thing. I'm not going to be able to sustain this. So to that, I'm like literally having a conversation with myself when this stuff comes up. I'm like, okay, what if it's not? What if this is just the new normal? What if this is just not a fluke? What if I'm pretty good at this? What if more clients or funders come? How could that be true? So you just want to like kind of, I'm imagining like a Frisbee and instead of a boomerang. So the idea of this thought that's not helpful, which is what if this is a fluke? Instead of like that thought comes in and then it boomerangs back at you and sticks right on you, I'm gonna Frisbee that one out and instead kind of Frisbee back like, well, what if it's not? What if it's not? Have some lightness to it. So plan your before and after, plan those thoughts to come up. And that's maybe the first step, right? Is, hey, it's kind of normal and nothing's gone wrong if some of these thoughts come up. Okay. Second thing, celebrate the yes, celebrate the win, celebrate the whatever. The outcome you wanted happened, and do not take 7 seconds to celebrate it and then go back to your day. Like really celebrate it. That's something that I've been working on for probably 4 or 5 years, because what I noticed was that thing I was working towards, I would get the yes, I would feel good for, a second, and I just go back to my day. That's not fun, you guys. That is not fun. That is not how we enjoy the journey. Okay. So here's what it looks like to celebrate the yes and celebrate the win. In the moment, yes, celebrate it, feel it, smile, jump up and down, do dance, call your mom, text your best friend, whatever it is. I got it. They said yes. WhatsApp me, Vox or your coach. We want to hear this stuff. Have somebody who can celebrate with you. And then I know you got to go back to your day. You're going to go back to your day. And then later that night or the next morning, celebrate it again. Like close your eyes, remind yourself, like, I fucking did this. This is happening. They said yes, like celebrate it. Think about it often and celebrate it. So it's like going back to it where you're like, ooh, that was good, right? Okay. Third step. Think about somebody you admire. Again, mentor, thought leader, famous person, doesn't matter. How would they talk to them? How would they talk themselves through it? So when it feels either sticky, wobbly, shaky, be like, what would Sarah Blakely do? Or maybe for me, like, how would my dad handle this? Ooh, he probably wouldn't feel shaky or wobbly. What would he say? How would he talk to himself? Okay. And then remind yourself about somebody you admire. If they weren't shaky or wobbly, again, how would they celebrate it? How would they feel about it? So I feel like they'd shout it from the rooftops. They'd announce it. There would be, even if it's announcing it to your partner, your friends, your family, like whatever, saying it out loud to yourself, you did it, right? How would they talk? Like, how would they savor in that moment? Okay. And how would they handle, just kind of step into their shoes. How would they handle any anxiety that started to drum up? Fourth step, work on your self-belief, or at least your mission belief. Okay. So self-belief is the, can I even do this? So I want you to work on write a list of 10 reasons why you're the perfect person to do this. Why you can do this. 10 reasons why. No, I am. I don't need another certification. Sometimes I see people ask for should I get certified in this? Or do I need to get this course certification? I'm like, I think you need to go out there and take the daring action, right? I think you probably already know what to say and how to say it. You just need to drum up that self-belief. So write a list of 10 reasons why you're the perfect person to do this, right? Even if it's 10 small reasons. It doesn't have to be because I have a PhD in blah, 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 right? It's just, I know what I'm talking about. And when the self-belief feels still a little wobbly, believe in your mission, 150%. Why is it that your organization is amazing at the problem you solve, right? think about that mission. Like work on that belief in your mission, belief. And for my for-profits or my consultants or my course creators, work on your belief in your mission. What is it you're trying to do, right? So even if you feel a little shaky of like, am I the one? Work on, okay, what is the transformation that my clients or customers get, right? Talk about that mission, right? What is it they really want? And how are you helping them get there? Okay. Number 5, remind yourself that you're in their arena. Okay. Brene Brown talks about this. When her critics come a rumbling and they love trolling the comment section and they love telling her, well, actually, you're kind of wrong about this, or actually you didn't know, right? Critic city. Okay. She reminds herself, number 1, are these people whose opinions I trust? Because I think it's her that keeps on a Post-it note. Like the 5 people, those are the people who they can tell me you got this wrong, Brene, or I think you're a little off here, Brene. Whose opinions do I trust? Is the general public on that Post-it note? No. On that list? No. The second thing she does is she says, I'm in the fucking arena. You come on stage, you do this, you pitch the funder, you sell the course, you sell your services, then come talk to me, come be a critic, right? So remind yourself, I'm in the arena, I'm doing this. And success anxiety comes up very commonly when people are in the arena, and this is just part of the deal, and I'm here for it. Like I remind myself every day when something feels like nerves, when it feels like I just feel nervous, right? That I'm like, ooh, the nervousness means many times I'm in the arena, right? It's supposed to feel a little nervous. I'm not supposed to feel 150% confident all of the time. And when I notice that I'm in the arena, I actually am pretty proud of myself that I'm like, I'm in the arena more. It compounds year over year over year. 10 years ago, I had my pinky toe in the arena, right? Now I'm fully in the arena. Okay, step 6, worst case scenario. Okay, so if you're somebody who's catastrophizing, so if you are going, I'm going to owe them, I don't know if I can do this, what if I fail, I feel indebted to them, and all those are like vague self-critical thoughts, vague anxious thoughts, okay? So if those come up, I actually want you to go to worst case scenario, and for me and for many people, that can really help like depressurize, diffuse how you're feeling. So I remember years ago, the first time I ever sent out a proposal for like 5 figures. It was a big proposal. And I was like, oh, can I even do this? And that shakiness really came up. And I decided to go to worst case scenario. And I said to myself, okay, worst case scenario, I can't do this. It's a total dumpster fire and I can't do this and I fail. Okay. I went ahead and played that out in my head. And what I could barely finish the words because I said to myself, that's never happened. I've never had a client say, this was a dumpster fire. What the hell? But I needed to actually say that to myself. And like, I actually wrote it down and was doing some journaling of like, just to prove to myself, number 1, that's never happened. The second thing that I did is I was like, I would never, ever run my business where a client said, I'm so unhappy and how could you? I would always make it right. Make it right means listening to the client along the way if they needed something and I wasn't giving to them, making sure that if that meant I needed to bring on an expert or a contractor to execute some part of it, I would always do that. If I needed to pause the contract, if I needed to cancel it, whatever it was, I'm all in. I'm open to it, right? I would never just be like, dumpster fire, bye, good luck, right? And that really helped me go, oh, right, the thing that I'm scared of, I would never like follow through on that journey. It's like I would never take myself and my client to the destination where everybody is really unhappy. We would know right out of the gate something's miss and get back on track. Or we would say, you know what, this isn't a good fit. And then it was like, I was like, oh, right. Light, right? Light. it felt so much lighter when I was like, right, I'm not like seat belting myself on a roller coaster, right? I'm on the driver's seat. I can get on or off if I want to, right? In fact, this isn't even a roller coaster, right? Just driving a car. And if I want to change routes or park the car altogether, those are choices that I can make. Okay. And the same thing is for you. So if this is a funder and you're like, what if we can't? And no, I feel indebted. Like, really play that out. First of all, how are we spending this money? How are we reporting that we're spending this money? What is the funder's expectations? Have I sold them the moon and stars and we're going to solve this entire problem with this one gift? Okay, let me come back to earth. And why did I do that? And how do I bring it back to the reality and the truth, right? When you tell people the truth and when there's confidence about that, here's what your gift can do. Here's what I can do for you. They're along for their journey. I've never had a client who's like, you know what, in this 4-month term, you're going to solve all my problems, right? So no one's expecting that. So don't sell that, right? Okay. So play out worst case scenario. And number 7, and maybe if you do none of these steps, I want you to just do number 7. Number 7 is the most important one. And number 6, I want you to spend like 10 minutes on and get it out of there. Don't spend a lot of time on worst case scenario because it's not helpful. We just need to like see what's happening in your brain and then move on. Number 7, best case scenario. I want you to think about, ruminate on, journal about, go for a walk and just daydream about best case scenario 10x as much as you do any of the other things, okay? Because this is something we very rarely do. We very rarely spend a lot of time daydreaming about the best case scenario. And remember when I was talking about this idea of like people you admire, mentors, etc., successful folks, you know what they do? They are constantly visualizing their best case scenario. Without a doubt, Sarah Blakely was like, this is the thing. And I just need to get it in stores so people can buy it. I just need to get these footless pantyhose on shelves because this is what people want, right? She wasn't like, what if they hate them? What if they're uncomfortable? What if I can't find a blah, 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 right? What if Neiman Marcus doesn't sell any? Like, not useful. That's not productive. That feels heavy. That feels pretty terrible. No doubt she was spending a ton of time in the glass is half full, in the optimism of the best case scenario. So I want you to write out and spend some time on like, what's the best case scenario here? You get the funding, you get the yes, the person says yes. Now what happens? And I'll give you some hints. One thing is if you feel like something that came up for you is like, this was a fluke, this was a one-time thing, I want you to work on thinking about how this isn't a fluke, how this person is going to be loyal and come back year after year after year. And you know what's even better than that? They're going to refer you people. So if you're a for-profit, they're going to refer you clients. They're going to refer you out. And if you're a nonprofit, guess who they're going to refer you to? People they know, more funders, right? How does it compound? What's the best case scenario? Okay. That's what I've got for you today. I hope this was helpful. So success anxiety, totally normal, part of the deal. Work on poking holes in it. Work on asking yourself how it's probably not true. Identifying why you're thinking it in the first place. 1, because that's super normal. We all kind of do. 2, because we're just scared. We're scared of failing. We're scared of it. But when you realize that failing or the fear of failing is part of how you grow, literally, you have to be in the arena. And when you're in the arena, there's going to be some thoughts about failing. It's not a problem, right? It's okay. Work on what's the best case scenario. Think about it often. If you're in the car and you're just driving, think about what's my best case scenario here. Not of the drive, but like of the thing you're working towards. Visualize it. Really start to picture it. What's next? Another client of mine is working on buying a building. Actually, 2 are. Start picturing the building. Picturing the building. Ooh, it's over here. I can picture what the exterior looks like. Ooh, what am I going to do on the interior? What are the different rooms going to be like? Really picture the building. You would be surprised how much that will fuel and propel your success forward. All right. Next week, we're going to talk about troubleshooting. So a couple of emails that I've gotten, a couple of wobbly responses that I've gotten, some feedback I've gotten through this series, this is going to be good. So if you have questions of like, okay, this is coming up for me, send me a DM at Splendid Consulting on Instagram and I will address your question in the troubleshooting part next week. And what else? Share this. Go share this on LinkedIn, share this on Facebook, or are you on Facebook or Instagram, wherever you like to hang out. Share it with other nonprofits and change makers and impact-driven professionals. The last thing I want to offer or give you a nudge to do is leave me a rating and review. That helps, get the word out about this podcast, and give me a screenshot. If you do, I would love to see it and hear what you're interested, what's resonating with you, and I will see you next time. If you ask me, everyone should have a coach, especially you. I want to invite you to schedule a free discovery call with me. Go to splendidatl.com/contact. You'll see my calendar there. Book a call with me. You'll learn about my SMART growth method, where we can grow your business or organization sustainably with ease and massive impact. Think you've reached out to everyone in your network? Are you out of ideas to get noticed and get funded? I hear you. That's why I'm giving you a chance to steal my prospect list. Yes, you can generate leads for your nonprofit or impact-driven business. Grab my mini training and list delivered to your inbox instantly. Go to splendidcourses.com/prospect.